The palaces of Jaipur were once homes to the Maharajas, or kings of India. Today its grounds are homes for the homeless. 46-year-old Chandra Shekhar has been living here on the palace gate pavements for the last 5 years. He moved to the city of Jaipur with his family to look for work, as there was no employment in his village.
अब क्या गरीब है, मेहनत करना, कमाना, खाना, कहीं भी रहना दो। गांव छोड़ दिया तो कहीं भी कमा खाना हमको दो, हाथ पैर जोड़ के कमा खाना हमको दो।
Using his monkey as his begging aid, Chandra's main income comes from spare change given by the tourists who visit the palace museums. His family also tries to make cages to sell to rat catchers. Their fingers are blistered from working with the wires. For their efforts, their daily income is often less than $3. Hunger is constant. Chandra wishes to return to his village, but he cannot afford the train tickets back for his entire family.
तो खराब हो जाएंगे तुम, यहाँ खराब हो जाएंगे तुम। ये भीख मांगने बेचते हैं ना, इनकी हालत खराब हो जाएगी। तुम गांव में रहेंगे तो अच्छा है, तुम आधा रोटी खाएंगे चलेगा हमको। आधी रोटी में हम शुक्रिया अदा करेंगे, तुम भगवान से, मालिक से, दुआ से, गरीब नवाज से, सबसे दुआ मांगेंगे हम, सबसे दुआ मांगेंगे हम। हमारे बच्चे यहाँ खराब हो जाएंगे, तुम भीख मांगने भेजेंगे तो हालत खराब हो जाएंगे। नहीं, हम मेहनत करके लाऊंगे, सब खाएंगे, आधा रोटी खाएंगे चलेगा हमको, चटनी रोटी खाएंगे तुम।
Pavement dwellers like Chandra are a common sight in India's crowded cities. They represent the poorest of the poor. The luckier of the impoverished manage to find rooms in slums. Here there are no proper toilets and hardly any privacy, given how crowded it is. Slum dwellers also have to share their homes with all kinds of animals. But people get by, and smiling faces are not uncommon in slums despite the trying conditions. Pavement dwellers and slum dwellers alike often share the same story, and that is migration to the cities to escape rural poverty. Many aid programs have been put in place to help them improve their living conditions in the city. But one important person believes the answer is to be found in the villages. That person is Mahatma Gandhi, regarded by Indians to be the founding father of their nation. Gandhi said that if the village perishes, India will perish too. He called for development to center around the villages. Today, that vision is being carried out at the Barefoot College in Tilonia. They believe the answer to the city's poverty is to build capacity in villages. Its founder, Bunker Roy, was named as Time magazine's 100 most influential people in 2010.
Today, there are weavers in a village who are dying because you're getting milk cloth from Bombay into a village. There are leather workers who are dying. The market is gone because you brought in plastic shoes from outside by the thousands and flooded the market. You have destroyed the markets by bringing in products which are cheap from outside. Artisans who are lost the market are now going into the slums of Mumbai and Delhi, and you're dying. So what is the Barefoot College trying to do on this? We're trying to say that you should develop the knowledge and skills in a village itself with self-respect and dignity, and make them feel that living in a village is not a punishment. Living in a village can be as fruitful, as healthy as any other, and just because you're living in a village doesn't mean that you're a failure. These are attitudes that the formal system has given you, and you want to bring that back. You want to bring what Mahatma Gandhi said back into mainstream.
The mission of the Barefoot College can be summarized as empowerment. Rural men and women who are barely literate or not at all are being trained in a number of professions such as doctors, solar engineers, architects, and carpenters. The objective is rural self-sufficiency. So as far as possible, everything is made locally. from the clothes they wear to the lighting they use. They make their own water heaters for the cold winters. And toys are crafted from locally sourced wood. Even sanitary pads are made here in the Barefoot College. The products are cheaper and the process is more ecological, as there is no need to transport the goods. Most importantly, these illiterate or semi-literate barefoot professionals, as they are known, are finding work in the villages.
You know, Mark Twain said, never let school interfere with your education. School is learning how to read and write. Education is from your community, your family and your environment. And that is where you should invest in. So, we have demystified technology right down to the hands of the very poor people who earn less than $1 a day. We have decentralized technology right down to the hands of the community who manage, control and own the technology. So it's a win-win situation. But when you talk like this to people who are technologists, they cannot believe that an illiterate rural woman can produce a charge controller which they beyond the comprehension. So we are trying to show that if you believe and trust in the capacity of people, very ordinary people, they are capable of miracles.
40-year-old Nam Bauri is one such miraculous story. The mother of two had less than 6 years of formal education, and she used to make less than 20 cents a day. But after half a year in training from a certified dentist at Barefoot College, she is now able to extract teeth, clean tartar, and carry out root canal procedures.
कसी खोदना है, हमारी ज़मीन के ऊपर काम करना है और हमारी ज़मीन पे ही काम करते हैं। कोई दूसरे बुलाते तो उनके भी हम जाते हैं, कोई ज्वार बाजरा काटना, कुछ वैसे चावल काटते थे, हमारे चावल काटना, ऐसा हम कुछ मजदूरी करते, मजदूरी करके फिर हम हमारा पेट भरते थे।
Nam sees about 7 patients a day now and makes about $100 a month. Nobody in the Barefoot College makes more than $150 a month, as the emphasis here is on living simple, sustainable lives.
अभी हम 27 जनवरी से जब से हमने ये काम चालू किया है, जो 27 जनवरी से लगा कि आज तक हमने कम से कम 1200-1300 पेशेंट बच्चे हमने देख लिए, पर अभी तक हमको कोई शिकायत नहीं है। सब अच्छा बताते हैं, बोले बहुत अच्छा हमको आपने ये शिक्षा दे रहे हैं और हमको बहुत अच्छा आप सिखा रहे हैं। इससे हमको बहुत अच्छा मतलब अनुभव हो रहा है।
Altogether, more than 1,400 barefoot health professionals have been trained here. They include midwives, doctors, and village-based health workers who spread awareness on such issues as immunizations, HIV, family planning, and hygiene. These barefoot healthcare workers all come from underprivileged backgrounds. The Barefoot College encourages a hands-on learning by doing process of gaining practical knowledge rather than written tests and paper-based qualifications. With this approach, even the semi-literate have been able to pick up medical skills. Dr. Bhattacharya, who was trained in Calcutta and has been working in a hospital and private practice for more than 30 years, is one person tasked with training barefoot doctors. In the last 2 decades, he has trained over 100 barefoot doctors.
This is a very, very basic thing. We are not going into the details of the pharmacy or medicine. What we are interested in is how to diagnose a person apparently. For that, the basic education is enough, and that they can achieve in say 2 years, where at least they get the idea where to stop, how much to do, and where to refer, where to seek help. That line they are told to understand, so that the case they can handle properly.
Complicated cases are referred to local hospitals in towns, as barefoot doctors have limited expertise. But the fact is, many are too poor to afford professional help. And it is also a very long bus ride to reach doctors. Furthermore, India faces a shortage of qualified doctors. The current patient-doctor ratio is 1,700 people to one doctor. In comparison, there is one doctor for every 400 people in the United States and one doctor for every 900 people in China. And most of India's doctors are located in the cities. There are 6 times as many doctors in urban areas compared to rural areas.
The population is enormous, big, and the hospitals are far and few. Of course, the government has been trying its best to open primary health centers, but that too between say 30 or 40 villages, one primary health center. They cannot cope up with the number of patients. Therefore, our idea of basic doctor is to educate the family. So, education and prevention of the disease is given most stress, and then the treatment part.
Barefoot doctors travel to inaccessible villages, giving consultations and medical checkups in makeshift clinics. They may not have degrees, but they are nonetheless lifesavers. This is a site where people from the untouchable caste camp. Being landless, they shift from place to place in search of work. Home is a flimsy tent in which 5 or 6 family members sleep. The untouchable caste is considered to be polluted, and in the past they were delegated the worst jobs, which included dealing with human and animal waste and dead carcasses. Today the situation has improved, but nonetheless their children still have limited access to education. Parents often work as hard labor, and there is little chance or money for further education. Barefoot Dr. Megraj is from the untouchable caste, and he grew up with all the discrimination that his caste brought.
शुरू के मायने जो गांव के अंदर जो मतलब जो एससी के लोग थे, ऐसे शेड्यूल ट्राइब के जो भी लोग थे, उनको काफ़ी स्तर उनका बहुत नीचा था, उनको हर दृष्टि से नीचा देखा जाता था और उनको न कोई पीने के लिए पानी के लिए कुएं पे चढ़ने देते थे, न हैंडपम्प पे चढ़ने देते थे, न मंदिर में न जाने देते थे। जी, उस समय जब मेरे को ये मतलब लोगों के साथ में इस तरीके से रहना पड़ता था, मेरे को बहुत गलत लगता था वो कि मेरे साथ में ऐसा क्यों। मेरे को बहुत ऐसे क्षीण पर्वत सोचना पड़ता था कि केवल मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों, दलितों के साथ में ऐसा क्यों। मेरी भी इच्छा थी कि भाई हम भी इनके साथ में बैठें, हम भी कुएं पे जाएं, हम भी इनके घरों में घुसें, हम भी इनके फंक्शन में जाएं, ये मेरे को महसूस होता था।
Megraj was trained in basic medicine at the Barefoot College, and he now travels to villages everywhere to provide his services. At first, people were reluctant to be touched by him, but as Megraj helped to cure diseases and relieve pain, their views started to change.
उसके बाद में जब धीरे धीरे संस्था काम करने लगी, लोगों को जानकारी देने लगी कि छुआछूत को मिटाना या क्या होता है इससे, तो ये सब कुछ करने के बाद में आज की तारीख में जब मैं महसूस करता हूँ कि आज हमारे गांव के अंदर हम आराम से पानी भर सकते हैं, हम लोगों के साथ में बैठकर बात कर सकते हैं, उनके घर में अंदर जा सकते हैं। ये सब कुछ संस्था में रहकर हमने जो सीखा है और लोगों को जो जानकारी दी, आज की तारीख में मैं किसी के घर में घुस सकता हूँ, किसी के घर पे जा सकता हूँ और किसी को भी देख सकता हूँ अंदर। तो ये काफ़ी बदलाव आया है।
The approach of the Barefoot College to educate the untouchables with medical skills not only helps to improve healthcare standards in rural areas, but goes a long way in changing entrenched discriminatory practices. And the same strides are being made for women. Gender discrimination is a long-standing problem in India. This is a country where female fetuses are aborted in favor of males. Literacy rates for women is 54%, which lags behind those for men at 75%. And though more women are joining the workforce in cities, in the countryside, they still have limited opportunities for good jobs. To change this, the Barefoot College chooses to educate women instead of men as solar engineers.
Men are untrainable. They are ambitious, they are restless, they are compulsively mobile, and they all want a certificate. And the moment you give them a certificate, within 24 hours they leave the village to look for a job in a city. Grandmother, stable, command respect in the village, rooted in the soil, they don't want to go, they have no ambition to leave their family, grandchildren, animals behind. And they are marvelous teachers, they're so confident, they're so patient, they want to learn slowly. So the grandmothers for me have been the best investment for demystifying technology and adopting the barefoot approach all over the world.
But is it easy for an illiterate grandma to learn solar electrification? The dozens of grandmothers here at the college seem to have gotten a technique right. Barefoot College say its success rate in training solar engineers has been 100%.
किताब में देख के सीखा है और टीचर भी थोड़ा सीखा है आधा और उम्र है 50 साल तो भी सीख रहा हूँ फिर भी उधर जाके वही काम करें.
Color coding helps the ladies to understand the process. And the rest is practice, practice, and more practice for at most half a year. It's not only in the Barefoot College that training is carried out. Teachers also take the methodology to remote villages and conduct training in the field.
तो ये लगे भाई एक प्रोग्राम जी एक बार खोलर दिखाया ने तो ये में तार तूर रही है नराइन हाजू में देखिए आपन से तो कैसा दिन लगता देखिए तैयार होगा अरे आप सीख नहीं सका बेगा सीख ये बस थोड़ा मतलब 15-20 दिन तक सिखाया ने बाद में थोड़ा दिल में ही आना बस सीख तो जैसे.
Santosh is now capable of repairing and maintaining solar lamps and chargers manufactured at the Barefoot College. She no longer works as hard labor in the salt fields, as the repair work gives her a regular income. Her village and those around it are not connected to the electricity grid, so these solar lights are critical to every household.
पहले तो ये पूरी परेशानी मतलब ये पानी ऐसे बरसात आ जाती जना आंधी आ जाती ना बहुत चमनी तो डट नहीं सकती और बियान अंदर हो रहे तो और मतलब अब लाइट भी ना कहीं काम नहीं हो सके मोबाइल चार्ज करो तो 3-4 किलोमीटर है बावड़ी बट लाइट है बट जाना पड़े या उन खालडा में जाना पड़े और आटा पिसा खातर या तो नवा जाना पड़े अटो 5 कोस पड़े और या मीटड़ी जाना पड़े बाबी 3-4 कोस है तो मतलब एक दिन 15 किलो आटा लेट जाओ ना पूरा दिन बर्बाद हुए बाबी परेशानी यहाँ ने अब आए बाद का मान मतलब लांटेना तैयार हो बाला जाती है तो मतलब महीना का मान 1-2 बार खराब होती फिर वापस तैयार करा लेता ना मैं वापस काम से यूज़.
For all the progress India has made in the information technology and service sector jobs, the country is still unable to provide reliable power, water and roads to most of its 1.2 billion people. An estimated 40% of the country's population is not connected to the electricity grid. Hence, solar power has made a major difference in the lives of people.
फायदे मतलब सारे वो मतलब 100 रुपया 50 रुपया का किरोसिन ले रहा हूँ मैं एक महीने के लिए तो मतलब बता दिन लांटेन चले ही ने वो खारू तेल किरोसिन तेल भी को लेना पड़ता और मतलब बार में बंद भी होने हुए बेगी सी अब हवा चलता ही चमनी तो बंद हो जाए और मतलब यह चालू रहे अगर उन्होंने जना मतलब आका भी कदे 100 रुपया कदे 80 रुपया कदे 50 रुपया यानी ये भी आ जाए.
Governments and NGOs from other developing countries have also sent people here for training. These students come from remote villages in Africa, Middle East and Central America.
How many brothers? You, just you? How many?
They speak no English, and can hardly communicate with each other. At the beginning, they are all very reluctant students, but they had no choice as they were nominated by their community and selected by the Barefoot College.
You are dragging them into the plane screaming. They hate the idea. They hate the idea of going. They don't know where they are going. They don't want to leave. They think they might die here before they go back. They're too old. Screaming they're coming into the plane. Absolute. They hate the idea. But they go back like tigers. They go back like tigers. They come by and walk out of the plane as if they're the star. It's good to see them.
So far, more than 150 illiterate rural mothers and grandmothers from 30 countries have been trained. And upon returning to their own countries, they have spread the technology and trained others in turn.
2005, I went to Afghanistan. I wanted to bring some women from Afghanistan. They said not possible because they don't even go out of the house. No way that you can bring them to India. I said I will bring the husband as well so that she doesn't come alone. So the husband came. 3 women and 7 men came to the Barefoot College in 2005. We flew them in, trained them for 6 months, bought 140 panels, transported, insured it all the way back to Afghanistan in 2005. The first 5 villages ever in Afghanistan which were fully solar electrified was by women in Afghanistan. And I made a film on this. In the film, we said the cost of doing all this is the cost of one UN consultant sitting for 1 year in Kabul. They were horrified. They said, you can't show this in the film. I said, why? Isn't it true that you are spending on one consultant $150,000 a year, and there are 700 of you sitting there in Kabul, and there has not been one village which has been solar electrified today in Afghanistan. Those 3 women today, they have trained 27 more women and solar electrified 100 villages in Afghanistan. What was the Barefoot College contribution? Only 3 women. They then trained other women, and it multiplied.
The Barefoot College is currently working on other cost-effective solar technologies. This solar cooker, for example, is made out of mirrors. The sun's rays are channeled into a stove, and in good weather, cooking can be done throughout the day. This means that villagers don't need to cut trees for their cooking needs, and it frees up precious time for other tasks. The inventors of this technology are the peasant barefoot engineers, proving that the lack of formal education is no impediment to innovation.
You have to develop the capacity and skills of people at the village level to be able to make sure that people don't migrate into cities. The migration level is colossal now. It's unmanageable. What Barefoot College is doing is improving the quality of life of villages so that there's reverse migration. We've prevented thousands of people from leaving the village to go into the city. Why? Because they want to live there. Why should I live in a slum in Mumbai when I can live quite decently in a village?
Barefoot College has trained more than 3 million people in India since its establishment in 1972. Its approach has not only helped improve healthcare and living standards, but has also prevented many from leaving their rural homes. The number of people living in slums in India has doubled in the past 2 decades. According to the Indian government, the population of people living in slums has exceeded the entire population of Britain. In 2011, more than 93 million people will be living in India's slums. And in other parts of the world, slums are also a challenge, with more than 800 million residents worldwide. The simple formula of the Barefoot College lights the way to what nations and aid organizations might do to stem this urban flow and build a more just world. It's fast growing. It's crowded, with more than 1.1 billion people jostling for space. And it is poor. There are more poor people in 8 states of India than in the 26 countries of sub-Saharan Africa. That's according to a study conducted by Oxford University that is being used for the United Nations Human Development Report. More than 410 million people live in poverty in the Indian states, and researchers say the intensity of the poverty in parts of India is equal to, if not worse, than in Africa. India's slums are known for its trying conditions. But the fact is, the majority of India's poor are found in the countryside. A typical farmer feeds and clothes a family of 4 on $2 a day. And the rural poor make up 75% of those who live beneath the poverty line. Why is the situation so desperate even after years of high growth? Firstly, the money is not trickling down. The top 20% of India's population has a more than 50% share of the national income, and they mainly live in the cities. Secondly, centuries-old systems of discrimination based on a caste system continue to exist. These children born in the untouchable caste are outcasts. They are considered too impure, too polluted to rank as worthy beings. Prejudice defines their lives, so does poverty. The untouchables do not own land and are often forced to work as labor for the lowest pay. The third reason keeping people in the countryside poor is weather. Rural populations primarily depend on agriculture, which is highly dependent on rain patterns. Inadequate rain and improper irrigation facilities can cause low or, in some cases, zero production of crops. And rain patterns have been increasingly affected by the effects of global climate change. So what's the way out of rural poverty? To find some answers, we journeyed to Sikkim, a landlocked Indian state nestled in the Himalayas. This place is remote. It's cold and mountainous. It does not have any airports or railways because of its rough terrain, and the nearest airport is an hour away in the state of West Bengal. Like much of India, the people here are also dependent on agriculture. Yet, while 1 in 2 people in India suffer from poverty, the number here in Sikkim drops to 1 in 5 people. While 40% of Indians are not connected to the electricity grid, 100% of Sikkim's citizens get regular electricity. And unlike many of India's cities, where begging is a common sight, in Sikkim there isn't a single beggar in sight. In many regards, Sikkim might not feel like India. But make no mistake, the Mahatma Gandhi statues lining the main street reminds visitors which country they are in. Sikkim is a deeply religious state. It is the least populated place in India and the second smallest Indian state in terms of area. But its per capita income of $560 is the highest in the Northeast and only slightly lower than the national average. Sikkim is a fine example of advancement on the path to inclusive growth. And the answer isn't oil or industry or rich resources. The solution begins in the farms.
Giving sustainable livelihood is the best way to tackle poverty in the rural areas. And sustainable livelihood can only come by the means of agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, village-based industries.
Mr. Sapkota is one example of how the poverty eradication policy has worked here in Sikkim. He has been working on the land all his life, and he used to grow rice.
आमदनी तो थोड़ा होता था, लेकिन कैसा आमदनी था जो चलने और चलाने के लिए थोड़ा दिक्कत वाला चलता था खेती। जैसे अब लाओ, इधर लाया उधर देते देते ख़त्म होता था, तो बचाने वाला कुछ रहता नहीं था। धान उगाता था और मक्का उगाता था, और दूसरा ऐसे ही जो खेती में ड्राई खेती और पैडी फील्ड ऐसे ही उगाता था। ये वाला जैसे वेजिटेबल का खेती वो खाने के लिए थोड़ा करता था, जो बाज़ार बिक्री करने वाला ऐसा वाला खेती, सब्जी का खेती करता नहीं था पहला। जब उसके बाद में जब ये टेक्नोलॉजी मशीन आया, अर्थात 2001 से थोड़ा हॉर्टिकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट ने हम लोगों को, सिक्किम का फार्मर को थोड़ा ट्रेनिंग वगैरह दिया।
Those lessons kick-started Sapkota's farming business. Instead of growing grain, Sapkota now plants different vegetables. His seed input was subsidized by the government. And now Sapkota makes 5 times more than what he used to as a rice farmer, as the vegetables fetch a higher price in the market.
देखिए अभी बच्चे लोग को पढ़ाना, अभी वही टेक्नोलॉजी से थोड़ा कॉलेज पढ़ाना, उसी से मेरे को मदद हुआ। और जो मेरा घर वो बारिश आने के उसमें घर के अंदर बारिश हो जाता था, वो अभी पक्का घर बना हुआ है, इधर प्रमाण है। ऐसे ही ज़िंदगी तो बहुत अच्छा से चल रहा है अभी।
The Sikkim government allocated 70% of the state budget for the development of rural areas, and this has had far-reaching consequences in reducing poverty. State officials visited individual farmers and taught them the latest farming technologies. They also provided free seeds, repaired irrigation systems, and built greenhouses. Helping farmers like Sapkota created a multiplier effect. Many other people in his village who were formerly unemployed also benefited.
मैं किसी को में जाने जैसा दिल करता था पहला, और अभी हमने 10 लोगों को इधर रोजी रोटी दिन में उनका दिन का रोजी रोटी का दिन का पैसा दे के 10 लोग को इधर काम में रखा हुआ हूँ। देखिए उन लोगों जितने मेरे पास अभी 10 लोग हैं, 10 लोग को पर रोज़ 100 रुपया करके मैं देता हूँ, दिन का खाना भी देता हूँ। और वो दे के उनका भी बच्चा है, बीवी है, उनको वो स्कूल ले जाना और खिलाने के लिए थोड़ा मदद हो रहा है यही खेती से।
Sapkota owns the land that he works on. So unlike many other farmers in India, he does not have to pay rent. India contains the largest number of both rural poor and landless households on the planet, and the two are related. Without ownership, the poor are often subject to exploitative tenancy contracts. Their harvest is channeled into paying for rental of land, leaving little for themselves. In the most impoverished Indian state, Bihar, 75% of the rural poor are landless. Some farmers face such desperate situations that they commit suicide. An estimated 200,000 farmers taken their own lives in India over the past 13 years, according to Indian government statistics. That is roughly 1 every 30 minutes. Sikkim is determined not to let this happen. To help the landless, it is this state's policy that each landless person is provided with half an acre of land for their needs.
We have a program called Protected Cultivation, in which almost every year we are covering 3,000 families for the last 2-3 years. And as a result, our aim is to provide all the poor families a greenhouse, and that by that greenhouse, if they are doing vegetable cultivation, they are able to earn 40,000, 50,000 per year. If we are doing floriculture, they are able to earn 1 lakh per year. So what we are doing, one is we are giving them input material like better seeds, better manure, better greenhouses we are giving them, better technology, better training we are giving them. On the other side, they are also, farmer is also, now once they start getting money, they are really taking a lot of interest in the activities.
The Sikkim example demonstrates that good governance is critical to combating poverty. Corruption, on the other hand, diverts precious resources which could have gone to aid for the poor. India is plagued by graft. A report by the Washington-based non-profit Global Financial Integrity estimated India has lost more than $400 billion due to corruption, bribery and tax evasion since its independence in 1947. More recently, in 2010, over $40 billion was allegedly stolen in Uttar Pradesh alone from schemes subsidizing food and fuel for the poor. India may be experiencing stellar economic growth of 8 to 9% every year, but corruption prevents many people from benefiting from the growth. Poverty has a woman's face. 7 out of 10 of the world's poorest people are women, according to the United Nations. And the situation in India mirrors these global statistics. Women face discrimination in land rights, and most women do not own property in their own names and are denied inheritance. They form the majority of the landless poor. Working alone on small plots of land that they rent, they struggle to get by. But there is power in numbers, as these Sikkimese ladies have come to realize. They were encouraged by the local government to form a self-help group to pool resources and share in the work. And since that time, their income has tripled.
अब जुन चाहिँ ग्रुप हामीले जति अब सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप गठन गरेर चाहिँ हामीले यसरी उयो हुनु पाए कि जसरी अब एक्लै आफूले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब 10 दिन लाग्छ भने चाहिँ अब ग्रुपमा चाहिँ 10 दिन गर्ने काम चाहिँ एकै दिनमा गर्छ त्यसै कारणले 10 जनाले अब काम गर्दाखेरि एक दिनमा करिब अब 100 रोप्ने 100 प्लान्ट रोप्छ यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब हामी चाहिँ अब सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप गठन गरेपछि चाहिँ फाइदा छ अब सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुपमा एक्लै चाहिँ अब हामीलाई सारै पर्छ किन आफूलाई खर्च चाहियो त्यसमा उयो चाहियो आफू उयो गर्नु पर्यो र अन्त सेल्फ हेल्प गठन गरेर उयो गरेपछि कमाउनुको लागि चाहिँ अब हामीले सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुपमा चाहिँ धेरै नै इन्कम हुन्छ किन ग्रुप गठनमा धेरै अब सहयोग हुन्छ एकअर्का साथीभाइको.
The ladies leased the land and the state subsidized training and agricultural input in the first year. By the second year, they had become profitable. The Sikkim state also provides agricultural aid to housewives with their own family land. Smriti Prata used to plant vegetables in her garden for her own consumption. But after receiving training from the Department of Horticulture, she now plants roses, which are exported to other states in India. Today, she enjoys all the creature comforts, but it was just 3 years ago that life was a struggle.
हमारे बगल में एक दो आदमी रहता था, वो गरीब किसान था. उन लोगों के पास ना तो टॉयलेट था, ना ही पीने का पानी. वो गरीब था, फिर भी वो लोग जीविका चला रहा था अपने आप. कैसे? सुबह खेत में जाता है, काम करता है, शाम को आकर खाना बनाकर बच्चे लोग को खिलाता है और उसके बाद उन लोगों का वैसे ही ज़िंदगी चल रहा था. बिजली का सुविधा भी नहीं था उस वक्त.
But now, many in the village have bought televisions with their new income. 86 families like Smriti's have converted to rose farming, and it is mostly the women who receive the state-subsidized training. It has not only helped to raise household income, but marriage dynamics also becomes a little different.
सबसे पहले पैसा, मैं पैसा जितना चलाऊं, पति को नहीं पूछना पड़ता है. पहले तो ये पैसा से ऐसा करना है, वैसा करना है, ऐसा होता है, लेकिन अभी नहीं. अभी जो करूं हमारा मर्जी है.
With its temperate weather, Sikkim is ideal for horticulture. Another industry it is well suited for is tourism. Nestled in the Himalayas, Sikkim is covered with lush green vegetation, scenic valleys and majestic mountains. It offers respite from the intense heat in many other Indian cities. It attracts many nature lovers with its wide variety of flora and fauna. Another draw for travelers is culture and heritage. Communities, cultures, religions and customs of different hues intermingle in Sikkim. The predominant communities are the Lepchas, Bhutias and Nepalese. It is traditionally accepted that the Lepchas are the first settlers in Sikkim. After the Lepchas came the Bhutias from Tibet. They migrated after the 15th century and settled mainly in North Sikkim. The Nepalese came after the Bhutias. And today, the Nepalese constitute more than 80% of the total population. It was the Nepali settlers who introduced the terraced system of cultivation. With its rich natural resources and cultural diversity, Sikkim hopes that tourism will drive development. The state has declared that it wants to be the first poverty-free state in India. By 2015, Sikkim says it will deliver a job, a house, a bank account, and health insurance to its 1 million poor people. Can it be done? Well, we visited a remote village in West Sikkim, which has been receiving tourists interested in trekking. People here were all formerly living below the poverty line, but the building of a guest house has helped to change that.
हामी यहाँ चाहिँ अब के गर्दा खुसी हुन्छ भने चाहिँ पहिले अब टुरिस्टहरु आउँछ टुरिस्टहरु आएर यहाँ जुन चाहिँ अब कल्चरल डिमान्ड गर्छ हामी यहाँ ल्याएर कल्चरल शो गर्छ त्यतिबेला चाहिँ हामीलाई खुसी हुन्छ त्यहाँबाट अरु त्यो कल्चर ल्याउनेहरुलाई हामीले अब पैसाहरु पे गर्छ त्यतिबेला जम्मै कोअपरेट हुन्छ कोअपरेसन दिन्छ यो जति पनि कल्चरहरु देखि लिएर यो जति पनि गाउँको मान्छेहरु हुन्छ टुरिस्टहरु आउँदा चाहिँ एकदम कोअपरेसन हुन्छ त्यतिबेला चाहिँ हामीलाई धेरै खुसी लाग्छ त्यहाँबाट आएर टुरिज्महरु आउँछ त्यतिबेला चाहिँ हामीलाई धेरै खुसी लाग्छ
The hotel was a government project and the boys from the village have been running it since it was completed.
यहाँ 4 जना काम गर्छ हामी एउटै गाउँको र यो गाउँको नाम आन्दिनो र हाम्रो 2 जना भाइहरु चाहिँ रुम सर्भिसिङ अनि एक जना खाना पकाउँछ जो खाना चाहिँ मै पकाउँछु र एक जना चाहिँ काउन्टरमा बस्छ
The boys get food, lodging, and $55 a month. It doesn't seem much, but it's a step up from the average agricultural worker in India who makes $2 or less a day, seasonally for back-breaking work under the sun. The annual profit of the guest house is about $1,000, and it's an example of development. A baby step at a time.
म यहाँ आउनुभन्दा पहिले चाहिँ म आमा बाबुहरु सबै खेती गर्नुहुन्थ्यो आलुको खेतीहरु गर्नुहुन्थ्यो त्यसैले म पढ्दै थिए त्यहाँबाट बादमा चाहिँ म टुरिज्ममा पुरा इन्ट्रेस्टेड थिए त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ म अहिले चाहिँ म यहाँ टुरिज्ममा आएर म यहाँ टुरिज्म गर्दै छु नभए चाहिँ म पहिले आमाहरुसँगै नै अहिले पनि फार्मरीमै हुन्थे म खेती नै गर्दै गरेको हुन्थे हुन्छ मलाई यो टुरिज्ममा चाहिँ म पुरा खुसी लाग्छ नयाँ नयाँ मान्छेसँग चिना परिचय हुन्छ त्यसैले गर्दा चाहिँ म टुरिज्म चाहिँ एकदमै मलाई चाहिँ इन्ट्रेस्टेड छु पनि अब रहने पनि छु रहि पनि रहन्छु मलाई चाहिँ मजा लाग्छ यो टुरिज्म चाहिँ मेरो हबिस नै हो म टुरिज्म पट्टि चाहिँ
A few hours away, the employees at the Indian Himalayan Center for Adventure and Ecotourism are equally upbeat. They are providing leadership training to a group of students from Mumbai today. And their calendar is quite busy over the next few months as schools organize trips here to learn more about the environment and enjoy the cool weather.
अब मैं फ़ायदा के बात में बात करूँ तो इस इंस्टीट्यूट में आने से पहले ये इंस्टीट्यूट नहीं खुला होता था तो हम लोगों को क्या करना पड़ता था हम लोगों को बाहर में जाके कुछ काम करना पड़ता था हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ता था वहाँ पर जाके वहाँ पर जाके इतना हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ता था कि वहाँ पर फिर अर्निंग भी ज़्यादा नहीं होता है। हम लोगों को वहाँ पर ज़्यादा काम करना है और अर्निंग कम होता था। अभी इस इंस्टीट्यूट में आकर क्या हो गया, अभी ये होता है ना अभी इस फील्ड में आ गया ना अभी, तो वो डिफरेंट टाइप का डिफरेंट पीपल से इंटरेक्शन होता है। वहाँ का वो उन लोगों के साथ हम लोगों का थोड़ा ट्रेडिशन क्या एक्सचेंज करने के लिए मिलता है। वहाँ का वो क्या क्या होता है वो सीखने को मिलता है, हम लोग शेयर कर सकते हैं ऐसे ही।
जैसे किसी को कैटरिंग मिल रहा है, किसी को गार्डनर, किसी को गार्ड मिल रहा है ना, ऐसे। और यहाँ पे दूसरे बाहर के लोग यहाँ आता है, ठीक है, आता है और यहाँ पे रहता है, तो यहाँ को लोग को ऑटोमेटिकली फ़ायदा तो होता है।
Ecotourism, with an annual growth rate of 5% worldwide, is considered the fastest growing market in the tourism industry. That's according to the World Tourism Organization. Sikkim, with its rich heritage and natural resources, believes that it is well placed to ride on this growth. Ecotourism here promotes cross-cultural exchange and teaches non-locals about the rich heritage here. It also educates visitors on the rich biodiversity to be found here, taking them on wilderness adventures to build an interest in environmental issues. Sikkim has seen an outburst of tourism projects in recent years. They range from gigantic and imposing to the exclusive and luxurious, to the plain and trite. And they are all a result of government policy. Sikkim is of the view that tourism creates opportunities for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in which the poor can easily participate.
ये हो रहा है कि हमारे 6 लाख के ऊपर, इस बार तो 7 लाख के ऊपर टूरिस्ट आए। तब तो हमारी संभावना वही है, गाड़ी वही चल रही है, होटल चल रहे हैं, रेस्टोरेंट और विलेज टूरिज्म भी हम काफ़ी कर रहे हैं। हमारी टूरिज्म रिलेटेड सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हैं हमारे यहाँ। इको टूरिज्म है, वेलनेस टूरिज्म की भी हमारी प्रोडक्ट है, और नेचर वॉक, ये सब चीज़ें होगी। फ्लावर्स है हमारे यहाँ, ऐसे 26% बायोडाइवर्सिटी है, तो 5000 के ऊपर फ्लावरिंग स्पेसीज़ है जो फ्लावर फूल देते हैं पेड़ों। और काफ़ी हमारे यहाँ जैसे रेड पांडे जैसी एनिमल्स भी है। ये सब चीज़ को देखते हुए हम टूरिज्म के सारी प्रोडक्ट हम कर सकते हैं।
The government has been enrolling hundreds of jobless young Sikkimese in tourism-related courses. This includes spa and grooming services in anticipation of a tourism boon. Never mind that it is the boys who seem to have taken more interest in the class, but state largesse can be a double-edged sword. Does Sikkim and India want a majority of people depending on the state? And are these subsidies in agriculture, tourism and education sustainable? Or will it be giving state accountants a headache in the future? People here seem optimistic. And perhaps with enough hard work and clever management, Sikkim might just become a shining example for the rest of India.